attendance meeting of the Board of Commissioners of the Westmont Park District on June 10th, 2020. May I have, Bob, are we doing roll call or you're just visually saying we're here?
No, now we have to do roll call and we have to do votes all by roll. So, and as a reminder, Jim, meetings are now being recorded. Joel is handling that and they will go by YouTube onto our website.
Very good. All right, so let's take roll call, Bob.
Lenore is our recording secretary.
Lenore's here. I'm sorry, Lenore.
That's okay.
We don't know without you. Go ahead.
All right, Commissioner Connolly,
Here.
Commissioner Karish,
Here.
Commissioner Long,
Here.
Commissioner Moffett,
Here.
Commissioner Zapinski.
Here.
Okay, without standing up, let's, Karen, start off Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Sure thing. I pledge
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag
of the United States of America
and to
and
the
to the
republic
republic
for which
which stands
one
one
nation
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and
and
justice.
justice for all.
Thank you. All right, consent agenda. Would someone like to make a motion? We want to pass the minutes for our last regular board meeting, the special meetings, and the claims ordinance. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to pass the claims ordinance and the minutes and the special meeting.
Thank you, John. Second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Sue, I'm sorry. And my sister's a Susan.
Yeah, I was, thank you.
Let's do roll call on that one, Bob.
Commissioner Karish.
Oh, Lenore.
That's okay. Commissioner Karish,
Yes.
Commissioner Zapinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Connolly,
Yes.
Commissioner Moffett,
Yes.
Commissioner Long.
Yes. Okay, open forum and correspondence. Bob, is there anything from the general public?
Gotten one email from a gentleman by the name of Zane Fulton. He's a Westmont resident. Zane is a tennis teaching pro at Midtown Athletic Club. That's the one there on 63rd Street in Willowbrook. He is interested in actually both opportunities, renting time at our courts and maybe putting a program together. We do not provide presently anything for tennis. I'd like to pursue this. I don't see why we wouldn't. It's just another offering. And we've seen a resurgence in tennis here during the pandemic. And it's been a long time since we've done something like this. It's been probably a good 4 or 5 years since we last did any kind of program with Greg Pill. It's worth trying it again. And, you know, we rent our athletic fields, our facilities. I don't see why we wouldn't consider blocking out some time for rentals on our courts, unless you think it's just too much use right now. We're not going to do it. But definitely with Dustin, want to pursue a opportunity for a tennis program or at least some instruction with this individual.
Anybody have comments?
Bob, I'm just, so this gentleman who wants to do this, you said he's a Westmont resident?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And do we know about his program? Basically, he's going to rent space and then use it to run his business. Is that the?
Yeah, but you know, that's done on our athletic fields, you know, with the clubs, just like soccer. But we don't have to do it. But if he was to do that, I let him know it requires a permit, a fee, and insurance to make all that happen. Unless we just do a program on our own with them where we do a kind of a co-op where we work with them. They can do some tennis lessons at Diane Main Park, for example, in conjunction between the Westmont Park District and Midtown Athletic Club, kind of an entry-level type program for residents and non-residents. And we've done that before.
Well,
I like the idea of us running a program and working with him as a pro. That sounds really good to me. The only thing I would comment on, I know the activity every evening at Thai, at Diane Main is very, very strong. Diane Main Parks, I mean, tennis courts are all used. So I hate to give up that space to something that is very successful right now. Now, we're not making money on it, but those are open courts. The only time we look to make money is when someone is making money or for a business endeavor, we would collect. You know, if you can figure out a time when we're not using it, maybe he can do it during the day. I don't know what his thoughts are, but I would be okay with Bob, you pursuing it, talking to him, finding out what he's looking to do.
As I shared with him, you know, I and you, the board, may be reluctant to open it up for rental because of the popularity. But if there's a place that has less activity right now, it's Veterans Memorial Park. You can almost always walk on that court over there.
If that is something that you can justify and show to us, that I see no problem using it. Make sure you protect our residents and we get a discount if he is doing classes. You know how to pursue it. I think we had a program with Bill in his tennis club, and residents got a reduction for doing it. To justify giving up the time, because, I mean, does everyone agree with that, that we're okay if we use the time that is not being used? I
Yeah,
don't think
yeah.
it would.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I
I'm
just-
more in favor of the program itself. Like if we were to develop a program for kids, I think that's a better idea than just renting the court out. Because then you could make money off each kid and still, then it would be a program that we would run and they could run it during the day like any other sports event and stuff like that. I think that's a great idea. It's just adding something to our resume, sort of.
I agree with Mike, but yeah, for sure. I think we should, but just being that we don't know, I think we should do our homework and find out. You just make sure that he's, got some good references or before we open up our courts at, because it's going to take a reflection on the district and we want it to be well received.
Yeah.
And a certificate of insurance,
Always.
naming us as additional insured.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I like Mike's idea. I think that's the way we should pursue everything that comes to us. Can we provide it? Can we be the leadership in it? And that's what we should be striving for from our rec staff, et cetera. If there is a demand, and we should be offering it. That's for our own self-preservation, guys. That's what you should be looking to do. So I agree with Mike and John's comment. Girls, do you have any other comment? Karen, Suze, anything?
No.
I agree.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I
Both
agree.
agree?
Yeah.
So Bob, I think we're giving you some direction here on, you know what to pursue. So that's fine. Any other general public requests, anything?
I don't have any else.
So no written. So you have attorney's report. There is none, or you? Yes, you did have something.
Yeah, I did share a kind of an outline report from Steve Adams. Most of it had to do with some status on FMC. Pretty self-explanatory, nothing significant, nothing that requires motion. It's really just an update. Things are moving ahead with, we all are in agreement that we need to revise the lease and update it, remove the construction language. We'll add the information on the use of alcohol in the facility. And the question is, we've all kind of got the ear of Joe Hicks over at Ty. That declaration is sitting on his desk. His attorneys passed it over to him. Everyone is ready to go. We just need them to provide a response. Not making excuses for them. I know they've all been responding to their issues with all their properties and facilities and Ty's resorts, which they're trying to keep afloat during this time too. So it's not, he was honest. He said it just hasn't been a priority for him. And I sent him follow-up email. We'd like to resolve this. We'd like your cooperation on this. If there's any questions about Steve Adams' report, ask it, but there's nothing significant. There is a couple contractor issues on the project, but we're completely protective protected as property owners. They can't file liens against us as a public entity. No worries there in terms of the legal ramifications.
And John, you saw that it seems like they're in agreement to pay us the $1,000 for a liquor.
I did. Yes, I did see that. I was pleasantly surprised, so that's good.
Yeah, good call there.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised too.
Yeah.
I was
Uh,
not really thinking that was a good idea, but
There was-
yeah, good job, John. You made us $1,000.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do we have any other attorney report news, Bob? Is that it then?
No, that's it.
Okay. Let me see. It's funny. My thing was up on my screen and just left. Okay, there we go. Unfinished
Yeah,
business.
acquisition grant.
Oh yeah, Bob, fill us up about the acquisition grant.
Okay, today Lenore helped me mail out the signed agreement back with the Department of Natural Resources for the Fritz Worley Park acquisition grant. I've read through it, got all my questions answered. That is now being sent back to the DNR, and we will await getting the signed copy from them back. We're not going to move or take any action until we have that grant agreement signed back on our desk. We've been there before when they don't send one back, and that was for the park grant up at Ty Warner Park, if you recall. So we will just sit tight. When we get that back, the next step will be, on our behalf, Jim will contact the property owner and let them know that we're interested in the property and we're going to be obtaining an appraisal. We cannot discuss price at that point at all. We can only discuss the price on the property or negotiate an offer until after the state of Illinois has reviewed the appraisal and approved the fair market appraisal. When they've stamped that and they've said, yes, you may proceed, that's when we get into the negotiation on the purchase price of the land. It 2 years to make this happen. We hope we can do it in less than a year, but we're moving ahead, assuming we get a signed agreement back in our hands.
May I have from the board just a motion that you agree to let me represent us on the, I'm only gonna handle the negotiating with the lady, with the owner, I'm sorry. And that will be, guys, this is gonna be very simple. The way the state of Illinois works is they're gonna have us hire, we're gonna contact the owner, tell her that we would like to acquire it and that we have to have an appraisal done. So we don't talk price with her at all at the first meetings. All it is that telling her we'd like to, and would she allow us to do an appraisal, which I'm sure she would. That's what I'll have to make sure I get her to do that for us. And then we get the appraisal, and that's our offer. Our offer will be whatever the appraised value comes back in. And then we go from there, and we can pay more than the appraised value. The state will only participate with what the appraised value is, and that's half of what it is, if it should go higher. We also, the second part of it is, the village is, as part of the arrangement for allowing the natatorium to go on our parkland, they are paying for the other half of the acquisition cost. So hopefully when we come through this, other than maybe some legal fees, we'll have to have an attorney, our attorney do everything. Whether I have him draw up the lease or I can, or lease the contract, or I can do it to save us some money, we'll determine that. But it might have to be that he has to draw it up to meet the state's requirement. And if that's so, that's fine. But could I have a motion to appoint me in a second, and we'll vote on it?
Sure.
Please?
I'll make a motion,
Well-
Jim, that, you got something else, Ken? Go ahead.
I was just going to share, I don't think that's the appropriate motion because you're actually going to be an agent for the village of Westmont.
No, I'm not.
Because
not
we are
active.
not, well, hold on. We have a contract, the Village of Westmont is responsible for the purchase of this home. And via contract that we're gonna utilize the Park District grant as a, what's the word I'm looking for?
Mechanism.
A way to obtain the property. But you're
Yeah.
still acting on the village's behalf because,
May I interject, John?
yeah, please.
Okay. Because we've been awarded a grant, and the grant is in the name of the Westmont Park District, we have to purchase the property. The village will reimburse us for the share. So either way, it's the same amount of money.
Yes, John, that's just so that's the way it was always presented.
Okay.
The village is participating to replenish whatever we spend up to half of the value of it. So that's the agreement we have in place, but they are not buying it and then deeding it to us.
That's not the agreement we agreed on, though. Not the half the value. The agreement was they will obtain that property.
That's the second caveat to the agreement. If we're unsuccessful with the grant, then it is their obligation to try and acquire that property.
Okay, because I just want to make it clear, because we as a district made a commitment to give up our land, 5 acres, so the village could have this project, the natatorium, and in return, they're going to supply us the acreage over there for this house. And I understand that Jim is going to be the liaison. However, it still comes down, this is a village purchase. And all in, any attorney fees, costs, everything goes to them. We should not be paying a dime.
They're also going to tear down the house too.
Big deal. That's 10 grand if that.
But it's still.
But that's not the point. We're already
John?
being put out as a district twice because we gave up our property and now we're giving up a grant for their benefit. We went to the state and got awarded a grant. Now, next time they hand out the grants, they're going to say, "Oh, Westmont already got one." So we're going to sue you.
John, so, I mean, we decided a long time ago to pursue it this way. Whether the village buys it or we buy it, it does not matter to me. I don't think that's the way the grant worked. I think the grant was awarded to us to acquire this. So, but we can get to the bottom. We'll find out how it should be done. But remember, we are also going to be deeded from the village all the other properties across the street, next to this, all that is going to be deeded to the Park District. So we're going to end up picking up, I'm guessing there's 2.5 acres there, whatever it is. And why this property was key to the whole acquisition is it ties into our little park there. And now we're going to own all the land from Trouby all the way to the second home, the other home on the other side of the pond on the west side of the street. And you can see where their existing land is on the east side of the street. It kind of lines up, but that's what we're going to get. That's all going to be deeded to us from the village. Now, that's all in our agreement. Now there's some things that, right now the point is acquisition. And all I wanted to do is be able to represent us to acquire the property. It's pretty cut and dry. There's really not that much I'm going to be doing because it's the appraisal that is going to count. She's going to be given the appraisal. Hopefully she accepts it. I would try hard to have that be something that is acceptable to her. But if you know, when I represented the village in acquiring those other properties a number of years ago, she was the one that we couldn't acquire because she wanted too much money. So the other properties we were acquiring for $160,000, and I think the highest one we paid was like $205 or $210, but that was 120 foot wide. That was 2 lots. where we were buying 60 footers from the others. So, and this one that she owns is I believe 60 foot too. So, but she wanted more, she wanted significantly more than the others. So that's why we stopped. And then when this came about, the natatorium, that's where I made in our request when they first approached me about would we consider the natatorium. That's when I brought up, yeah, if we could get land as a trade for this, and that's how we got this supposed park lined up. What I think they've agreed to do is tear down the building. They probably are, we're gonna have to consolidate all those lots, which is gonna do some work. And I believe they are gonna pay for all that. Am I right, Bob? I thought that was part of all the deal. So when they transfer it to us, it'll be a consolidated park with one lot.
Okay.
There's a lot of work to be done on that kind of stuff. This will take some time, and we have to have it done in 2 years. Will be done sooner than that. You know, we have to. The first thing we're going to find out when we go is to ask her. First of all, will she cooperate? Can we do an appraisal? We have to find out when that tenant expires, because we're not going to buy it subject to the tenant thing. We can't actually buy the. Then we'd have to buy out the tenant if there is a lease that's longer than when we close on purchasing it. So there's a lot of little details, John. And all I can tell you is, you know who my heart is with is our park district. So however we do it, we're going to do it on our behalf.
I understand that, and I would never doubt that, and I'm not suggesting that, Jim. I just thought that this is a village initiative. It was the agreement that they're paying, this is their baby. You know, they promised to get a hold of that property and get it to us in return for the natatorium property. So I guess I'm just, the bottom line is, please dot our I's, cross our T's, because I do not want to spend one penny of our dollars on this project. This is all village born.
Yes, I agree with you, John. That's what we're going to pursue. Just as a sidelight, so everyone is aware, if you look in our packet, we were also given a grant from the state. I'm sorry, go Bob. Go
That's
ahead.
under new business. We should wait till we get to that.
Bob, it kind of ties in.
It may or may not. I don't know.
As chairman of the meeting, I'm going
Okay.
to allow it to be brought in so everybody's hearing this. There's a $300,000 award
Not for this, though.
for land acquisition.
Yeah. Not for this. This has nothing to do with it. The village already purchases. We can use that we can seek out something else.
Okay, I agree. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
there's a $300,000 land acquisition. We don't know, other than I read through it, Bob, it does say land acquisition.
I don't know.
I don't know if the senator that proposed this and why she picked 300,000, because that's kind of what we were always talking about on this land. So I don't know if she was thinking that was going to be what we were going to use to acquire this land, not knowing we have a grant in place on what's that funding of that grant called, Bob?
Land Water Conservation Fund.
Okay, so it's separate from we're getting this money from the general fund of the state. Now, we have been given, was the one from the governor 3-4 years ago for the building, was that in this same fund, or was that
No.
in?
That was a whole different fund. We have received this kind of funding before through Patty Belloc. It was
Okay.
called Illinois First money. They've changed the language slightly, but we received $120,000 for playgrounds. Probably a good 5 years ago, I'm guessing.
So the only thing I point out, John, what was in what I read from the award was for land acquisition.
Yes.
So there's some clarity that we got to have because we had no plans for land acquisition. It would have been nice if it was to our general fund or anything other than land acquisition. Now we may have to go try to see what we can, what's available for 300 grand. We might be able to buy some more land somewhere, but that, you know, remember, these are funny things when they make these and approve these. It was approved as a land acquisition funds. So, and other than the fact that, and you'll read it, that's exactly what Bob got on the award. And they actually called us the Village of Westmont Park District, which I believe whoever her aide was, whoever wrote up we're just the Westmont Park District. We're not the Village of. I don't think they meant it to be a combination Village of Westmont and the Westmont Park District. I think this was award was supposed to go to us. I think someone just thought that we're called the Village of Westmont Park District.
Yeah, Jim, I agree with 100% of what you're saying. I understand. I'm just saying we're not going to, I would not be comfortable taking a windfall to the park district of $300,000 and give it to the village. It makes no sense to me. But so that's, I'm going to stand at least my opinion.
The village got 3 other grants within that bill separately. One, fire, police, and then infrastructure. I think it's understood this is for us. Steve Nero is the one that first told me about it. He knows Deanne Mazzocchi, our state rep, very well. They went to high school together. And
So did Kelly went with her.
yeah, so he texted me right away when she spoke with him, and he said, hey, Deanne just got you a bunch of money. So I think it's understood that it is for us. I've got to call into her aide over here in downtown Westmont. Hopefully I'll get a call back by Friday to ask all these questions.
Great.
Okay. So would someone like to make a motion for me, please?
Jim, may I
I will
add
not
that?
vote.
Jim, may I add that you clarify it will be pro bono for the record?
Oh yeah, everybody, you know that.
I just want him on recording.
Yeah, I don't charge. I would never. First of all, then I wouldn't be involved in it. I'm doing this only because I have knowledge and expertise in the field. That's all I'm doing. I'm not. Were any of you on the board? Last time we did it, I acquired the maintenance facility. I don't think Mike was on yet. Sue, were you on?
Mm-mm.
No,
Karen, were you on?
No.
See, none of you got. So the maintenance facility, John knows. I negotiated that for us.
yeah, that was right
And,
when I got here. You guys had just got
And over the years, I've done a number of our other acquisitions. But anyhow, could I have a motion, please?
Sure, I'll make a motion
May I
to
have a
appoint.
second?
Okay,
Yeah, go ahead, Sue, name it, read it.
well, to appoint Jim Long to represent the Park District in negotiating the acquisition of the house on Warwick.
Very
I'll
good.
second it.
I'm sorry, who made the second?
I did, Lenore, Mike.
Okay, thanks.
So, go ahead, roll.
Commissioner
Any
Zapinski,
discussion further? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Zapinski,
Yes,
Commissioner Connolly,
Yes.
Commissioner Karish,
Yes.
Commissioner Moffett,
Yes.
Commissioner Long.
I will abstain. All right, so that we'll go forward with, guys. We'll keep you posted on everything that goes on with that. And John, I will do everything I can to pin down the village on what we're expecting, et cetera. Now, we haven't, this has taken so long. Bob and I maybe will have a revisit with the mayor and with the village manager. And just, we'll revisit this anyhow. So, and I'll get back to you.
After we get the signed agreement.
We have to wait till the sign an agreement till we do anything. Anyhow. All right, next, unfinished business, COVID-19 impact on programs and operations. Bob.
We're going to keep this fairly short because a lot of the discussion can come under staff reports when we get to them. Two things that we should talk about here. The first one, just a clarification. Joel brought it to my attention. There's been a lot of information by park districts and on social media that park districts are going ahead and within a couple days, they're opening their playgrounds because of some CDC information. Hadn't heard anything that was news to me. We rely on IAPD. Sure enough, at 4:19 today, IAPD sent out a clarification email, said playgrounds must remain closed. So if you've heard anything, playgrounds are still closed. End of that discussion. Jim, you definitely want to talk about restrooms, outdoor restrooms at our parks, and what we're going to do there. That is directly a operational question and something that has been impacted by COVID-19. Yes, we can open them now, and we have a plan going forward of what we'd like to do at our large community parks, not all of them across the board. I think it would be just logistically too difficult, almost impossible to make everything function, but we can definitely take care of Thai, both restrooms, Diane Main Park and Veterans Park. And what we would do is we'd open them up every morning, clean them thoroughly, and then every 2 hours, we're gonna handle them just like we're handling the golf carts at the golf course. A 2-gallon pump sprayer from Ace Hardware with a disinfectant solution that is recommended by the CDC, and there'll be a checklist. We'll have records of it. Staff is going to have to go in, close it for 5 minutes, spray all touch points down, seat covers, handles, faucets, paper towel dispensers, spray it down, quick wipe with paper towels, open it back up. Won't take long, maybe 10 minutes total between men's and women's. And Park Patrol will then have to pick it up in the evening hours and operate in that fashion. That is how we could handle this.
Bob, did I read they're not allowed, they're not recommending hand dryers during this?
We are in the process of, with the equipment we have available, there's more things on order, putting in paper towel dispensers, and where possible, where we can get them, automatic paper towel, touchless paper towel dispensers. So yes, we are going to that.
Okay.
So
Thank
Time
you.
Warner Park already has paper towel dispensers, but a lot of our other locations do not.
Thank you.
Hey, Bob, just a note. When we did the buses, we didn't have to wipe them down. We just sprayed them, and that was it.
It would, right.
If it saves time.
But it
Either
takes
way is
longer to
fine.
dry.
Yeah.
It would be just faster to open them back up that way.
Okay.
But that's exactly what we're doing on the golf carts. Spray them, leave them,
Okay.
and rotate them in and out.
You know, I would like to just have from our board that we all agree that Bob should be striving. You know that we're gonna order doors that'll be opening them, people won't have to touch them, automatic doors. I just wanted to reiterate that I think our plan should be to have eventually all of our faucets should be nothing touched where they go on. I would like to make sure, Bob, in the future, and I know it's a lot more money and we'll wait, but as you make sure we do toilets that you don't have to hit the plunger. I see most airports and people there. Do we have some anywhere?
No, but they're on order.
Oh, good. I think the more we can do for the future, because I believe these, maybe not as bad as this pandemic, but I think we're going to probably be, in the future, we're going to see more and more of this kind of stuff. So we have to strive. And I just want to point out, I have been pushing long before Bob became director. I was always against hand dryers, John. I'm glad you brought that up. You got to go paper. You can't have anything. Those hand dryers blow all the virus in the air. And especially if you're a child and you're below that it's blowing right on kids. And it's really so paper towels are the way to go. And I'm glad to hear our eventual goal, Bob, and I'd like everybody to support this, is for him to go to have as much of our plumbing and our safety in our bathrooms as we can possibly afford to do. And I don't know if I need a motion, just give me a yes, I agree, around the
Yeah.
table. There you go.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'd like to see numbers, Jim, before we say, replace all the faucets, and if it costs, I don't know what it costs. I have no idea. You know what I
They're
mean?
telling me $600 a faucet.
Okay.
It's less. I've got some numbers right here. All right. It is going to be just the unit for the toilets is going to be about $330 per toilet. And that's the part, or parts to make it happen. And then it is going to be, actually, Jim, so far about half the price. So just over $300 per faucet. And right now with Pat and Allie on our staff, we're able to do this work in-house and not have to
Okay.
hire out a contractor.
Okay, I'm good.
You're in, good, thank you. Let's see, where are we at? Are we done with COVID, Bob?
Yes.
All right, our air conditioning and heating and project status.
Yeah, spoke with Midwest Mechanical today. They are still doing their due diligence, the engineering on it, putting that together so we can revise plans. I'm going to meet with them next week and do kind of a 90% review on the redesign of it, so we can start preparing a contract. And once we have that, we can go into the contract stage, but also go to resubmittal for the permits at the village on it. So we're weeks out still from seeing anything happen, but we've already started talking to them about staging this now that the building's open, day camp's going. All that will be vetted and orchestrated pre-construction before we get going on it. But it's moving ahead. They're getting closer to having something that is on paper for our review.
Any comments? And I think I saw in your report, Bob, is that still around 230,000?
Yes.
Okay. Any other unfinished business? Anybody want to bring up? Bob, anything? No. New business. Board to consider outdoor tennis court. Oh, you already did that?
We took care of that one.
Yeah, you kind of skipped without, okay.
Oh,
See.
But it was also underwritten.
Trying to get mine out of order, and then you did it out of order, and it's passed by so nicely. Okay, board to consider capital maintenance projects. Bob, update us on what you plan.
Yeah, I gave you a list and sent you pictures. If you have not seen the pictures of some of the things we're talking about, the silt at Tywarner Park with the pumps, the cart path along hole number 4 at the golf course. I'm going to start with Tywarner Park because that's been one we've been looking at for a couple weeks now. So when Ben started testing and firing up the irrigation system, we've got new pumps that we put in last year. Nothing was coming out. Thought that's odd. So we called the company that replaced them and did the service for us last year, said, what's going on? They were cooperative, and because they did the work, they didn't charge us for that visit, but they pulled the pump and we discovered covered in silt and also some reeds from the pond. And what the heck's going on? Investigated it, took everything out. Guy climbed down in the pit. We've got at 11.5 feet down in that pit, we've got silt. It's sucking in silt from the pond. So this can happen. That's been in 18 years. The pipe could have lost the screen, the intake pipe that is out in the pond. That could have fallen off, damaged, don't know, rusted. The pipe could have fell on the bottom of the pond. What we have to do now to get this working is there's a company, and the name of the company is Organic Sediment Removal Systems. You know, these are the guys who come into the golf courses and handle all these issues with sediment in ponds and remove it. Thank you, Joel. There's the picture. So totally blocked, no flow. They're going to have to suck out the bottom of the pit with a vacuum system, suck out the pipe itself, And then they are going to do an area all around the intake pipe. I forget how many, a 30-foot diameter. So they will clean it out completely. We have a couple options on, because it's 85% water, but mixed with the water, it's quite a mess. We want to try and do this without the sediment bags, and anybody that has been on a golf course over the years has probably seen one of these. They pump them into these sediment bags, it leaches out, and then you come back 6 months later when it's dry and you cut them open and you got this rich organic soil in there. That's expensive. It's about another $2,000 just to use a sediment bag. Our prairie areas at Ty may be ideal just to pump this into the prairie or that detention basin off the parking lot there, since it's mostly water, and just that will save us some money. They can pump up to 2,000 feet. So that's the first thing that has to be done. Now, when the divers are down there running the vacuum system, that is when they can investigate what's going on with the pipe intake. Does it need a screen? Is the screen falling off? Does it need to be replaced? So it's kind of a two-step process, and we deal with it one at a time. So that is the sediment removal for Ty Warner Park. Without the sediment bag, we're at $2,530. Sediment bag adds $1,950. Trying to meet with those guys this week. They're delayed from all the rain that's been going on. Without that, we won't have an irrigation system this season.
So everybody understands, part of Ty, we pump the water out of that pond, and that's the water that we use for irrigation for about, Bob, would you say it's 2/3 of the park or more?
Yeah, the easier way to describe it is the 3 baseball fields and soccer field are all on the village's irrigation potable water system. The rest of the park is on the well pump.
So we're saving money by pumping from the well. The only thing we pay for is electricity to run the pumps and, of course, the maintenance, which we're stuck with. And unfortunately, that was just a year ago, we put in a new pump, right, Bob?
Yeah.
My suspect is that new pump was so powerful, it sucked all this
It
junk
could
in.
have.
That's what I'm thinking. Did they check that pump? Did it have a fail-safe to shut off?
Oh,
if it
thank you.
didn't?
No. So that's a VFD, variable frequency drive pump. It
Mhm.
worked like it's supposed to. So the pump is in great shape.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just probably so powerful, and there was probably so much crud in the line that was there with a pump that couldn't keep it up. That's probably part of the problem, but whatever we have to pay to get this working, it behooves us to do it because we save money. The fact we're not paying for water for irrigation, and I'm going to say we'd easily drop if we were using village water. Oh, Bob, could you just share? Do you have any idea what we spend on water up there?
Yeah, we probably, and it varies based on frequency of rain, drought, but we probably spend about $4,000 on the spray park, 0 this year, and we may spend sometimes about $3,000 and sometimes up to $4,500 on the ball fields and the drinking fountains up there.
Now, other than the spray park, which has to be the potable water. It's too bad when we did this, I don't know why we didn't do the 3 baseball fields with the well water, but we didn't. I don't know why, but that's money we save by having well water. So for some reason, we were allowed to do it. When we got Lake Michigan water, the agreement was everyone would get out of the well water. That was and I'm surprised that we get it, but there was some reason we were able to do it when we built the park. So anyhow, anybody have any objection to Bob spending the money on that?
No, just to clarify, Bob, it's 2,500 to fix the pump plus whatever it is once you investigate the screen and that kind of stuff, right?
Correct.
Okay, good.
I think, yeah, we gotta do it. It's great. Bob, I'm just concerned, if with all the material that comes after all that silt, you had suggested putting it into like the prairie or the detention. I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. I don't know what you're putting all that stuff back into eventually in the storm sewers. Shouldn't we bag it?
Well, we could, and the other option is to bag it in the middle of the prairie where no one's going to see the bag. The bag we need for this is it's like it's about a 40 by 50, but it's only about 2.5 feet tall. And the prairie goes up 6 feet, so you'll never see it if we use the bag.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just worried about taking all that material and sending it downstream to somebody else. Then
No, the
wanna be-
material would stay in the prairie. The
oh,
water's
okay.
going to get out of there, but the material will stay in the prairie. And
Okay,
in the
good.
detention basin, there is a catch basin in there, an outlet pipe that goes to the village storm sewer system. We would straw bale it around it to catch any settlement. Water would get through though.
Okay, thank you.
And Bob, your reason for not bagging it is?
Just to save money. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it's about $2,000.
Yes.
Yeah, if you put it on the ground, it's going to turn into organic matter anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, I think the validity of why you would bag it would be, I think John kind of hit it. So if we stick it over there and it clogs up the exit pipe, but you're saying if you put straw bales, you're going to filter it enough, and you're thinking that it'll drop and be good soil in that area and where we're going to dump it at.
You know, when the water is all leached out of this, we'll be left with about 2 inches of soil at most. That's it. It just
Okay.
becomes part of the prairie.
All right,
You seem
thank you.
like you got a handle on it. Everybody's in agreement. We're all okay with going forward with it. He knows that. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Are you good on that, Bob?
I'm good on that one. Let's move on.
Wait, so was there any other, yeah, you got more capital maintenance news, right?
Yeah, Joel, let's move on to the cart path, pole number 4. Can you pop up that picture?
I love this shared screen.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Okay. What you're seeing here, I don't know if you can see off to the right, there's right by they're probably cattails there at about 4 feet out from the edge of path. Those are granite cobbles. That used to be the edge of pond. Over the last 3 years, with the excessive rain we've been having, the higher water level in the pond, what's happened is it's saturated the soils along the edge of the path, and it's starting to slough off. This is what happened years ago at the old Twin Lakes Park with those old ponds before we restored them. Nothing to hold that in place, gravity taking over, and now it's compromising the edge of the cart path, and you can see the water's right up to it as well. Before I can figure out a solution to correct this and make it safe, I need to know what we're working with there. So we need soil borings. I want to get 2 of them done. It'll be $2,650 to do the borings and get a geotechnical report. They will drill to a depth of 15 feet. Very similar to what we did 3 years back at Burness Park when we had the soil borings there that told us, hey, you got all this peat soils. I have no idea what we're dealing with right now. But this will help us to find a solution. Not only is this a structural issue for the cart path, we're now headed towards a safety issue right there as well. Got to address it.
So Bob, if we didn't do the borings, couldn't you invest that 2,600 and go to the extreme to reinforce and build instead of, I mean, you know, you're probably going to get a bog, you probably have a bog there. I'm guessing it's all peat.
He,
And so for $2,600, you're going to find that out. And I'm wondering if you wouldn't be better to use that money towards the solution, which would be, what did you end up doing at Burners Park where you had the borings and you had no support? Is that where you did?
We did the helical piers there. And helical piers wouldn't apply to this. That is for, you know, a building foundation. $2,600 could mean the difference of $50,000 of a solution here.
What?
Well, Bob, you're just going to fill it in with something and rebuild that wall, basically, right?
That could be a complete waste of money, Mike. If those are all poor soils under there, it's just going to fall into the pond again.
Okay. So if those are all poor soils, what would be the solution then?
You know, we may actually look at something we did on the creek bed, St. Joseph's Creek. They're called Ajax. They almost look like, you know, you ever play pickup jacks with the little rubber ball and the little.
Oh yeah, yesterday I was playing.
Yeah. So they're bigger things that are made of concrete. They piece together and lock together. And that might be a better solution along this to protect that bank and hold this behind it. And totally different solution, considerably the cost is considerably different than, say, building a wall. Because I don't think we're going to be able to do something vegetated in that area where, you know, you kind of have a typical shelf of grass to woodland plants and down.
Okay. So until you know what the soil is,
the
you
only
can't
reason
really
I bring it up, Bob, I know most builders, and back when I was building a lot, did not do soil boring. They thought for the 1 in X amount that they would have problems after they started digging. They saved money. And we know we got a problem. Here's my point. I don't know what soil borings, other than you're going to be able to learn the depth till you hit something. I'm assuming you're going to, well, if you feel it's what you have to have, then I'll be okay with it. But $2,600 is, that'd be a nice contribution towards whatever you have to do to remedy this.
From an engineering perspective, if it's 4 feet down, a hard armored wall, retaining wall, concrete block could work nicely there. But if it's 10 feet down, anything we're building is a waste of time.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, how much would it cost if you said you had to go down 10 feet, 12 feet?
With the
Give me
wall?
a number. Well, what are you planning on doing? Remember, this is a cart path. You're not building a house.
But
I don't know.
are you going to move the cart path a little? Like you guys already did move it some.
The cart path is kind of moving on its own, but yes, I would push it farther away. But I also want to know, is this thing going to keep creeping out?
Yeah.
All right. So this one, let's take a vote. Someone want to make a motion to spend the $2,600 for an engineering boring at the golf course? Please make that motion, someone. And we
Sure,
can
I'll
vote.
make a motion. I'll make a motion that we spend $2,600 or whatever the exact cost is
Yeah.
to get 2 15-foot borings of the number 4 cart path pond edge.
Second
I'd
by
like
someone.
I'd like to second, but I would like to request we get 3 proposals on those.
Sometimes it's not easy, but yeah, Bob, please get some other bids on the borings.
Will do.
Any other comments before we vote?
Nope, I'm okay.
All right, roll call, Lenore.
Commissioner Zapinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Carish,
Yes.
Commissioner Connolly,
Yes.
Commissioner Moffett,
Yes.
Commissioner Long,
Because I'm a cheap bastard, I'm going no.
Wait, what? That wasn't the question, was it? I voted wrong.
All right. We good on that, Bob? You know what to do there.
Yep.
Anything more? You got more?
Two more. I
Yes.
want to move on to the skate park. Skate park's really an update. This has to be done. Over the years, the kids have just destroyed the fence that's out there. So we've got repair work to do on the fence, not everywhere, but in sections of it. The bigger challenge is the skate park equipment itself. We've replaced a lot of the surface this last year and a few years back, but there's still more delamination. One of the challenges we're finding too is the screws, which are very special screws, and they have to be installed a certain way so they are completely countersunk and flush. All stainless steel, and they're flush, so all the wheels of skateboards can roll smoothly over them. They're not grabbing into the underlayment, which is a high-density plastic that's under the skating surface. Just years of vibration and movement. You almost have to take a lot of it apart and start over with it. Plus, a couple areas, we've got some structural framing that needs repair underneath on the framework of the structure. Was trying to work with Spawn Ranch, who now owns True Ride. I got their quote yesterday. First off is they're going to be 6 to 12 weeks out before they can even consider doing the work for us. Secondly is, I didn't like the proposal because they kind of want to rebuild the whole park, and it's $97,000 and change. So not doing that. I am talking with Tom Sirkovich. You may remember the name, Alpine Ridge Builders. Tom was our builder on Burness Park, but he also did some of the interior work over at the garage. And then his carpenter is the one that did all this very nice wainscoting trim work in the Linden Room where we have our meetings. I'm meeting with him on Friday, and we're going to walk the park and look at doing a time and material with his carpenter to work on this so we can get it back, get it safe and get it back open. We owe it to the park, we owe it to the kids, and it's just time. And we've been maintaining it. Now it's just gotten beyond our ability. There's more to it. And you really need a finished carpenter and a quality carpenter to do this work.
So do you have any ballpark estimate, Bob, for the time and materials?
Well, we're sitting on quite a bit of skate light surfacing, which is the most expensive part of it. Very expensive stuff. It only comes out of California. So we're going to have to order more of that, certainly, and probably do some more replacement this summer. But we're sitting on kind of a small pallet of it right now. And I don't know yet. I'm hoping we can maybe spend a good 2-3 days out there and get it to where we need it and get this thing opened back up.
So 10,000 instead of 97, or
I'm not going to throw out
20,000 instead of 97, or
I haven't met with them, but in
Okay.
my mind, I'm hoping it's 3 days, maybe 4 days on site, and I need to find out what he's going to charge per day.
okay.
Very good. I only have one question to the board. Does somebody know, does something ring a bell with Spawn Ranch? Anybody?
No.
Remember the famous killer of Sharon Tate? Oh, you guys were not even born. That was Charles Manson. Charles
But that
Manson
movie
was on the
came out.
Spawn Ranch.
I think I was 11.
Yeah, I think
In
I
the
was
movie that
a
just came
child.
out, Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio. Is that where they go? Spawn
Yeah,
Ranch?
that was the Spawn Ranch.
Hmm.
That's where all the hippies are. The Charles Manson group was at the Spawn Ranch.
And
It's kind of
skateboarding.
funny that they call this company the Spawn Ranch. That alone would tell, well, it fits. Anyhow,
They're at
So-
national conference every year. I'm sure you've all seen them.
really, that's kind
Yeah,
of
I
funny.
have.
I think
Um,
Sharon Tate also as a child was in the Brady Bunch. She made like 3 or 4 appearances.
Really? I never knew that.
I think it was her. It was one of the people from the Manson. Was there another girl? Folger, or no?
Oh, no, Folger was the coffee, Folger's coffee.
Yeah.
Folger was not a girl, that was the guy.
Oh,
And I
there's a
think she might
relationship
have
to the
been a-
Brady Bunch somehow with the whole
Oh.
Manson thing. But anyway,
You know how they mistakenly went to the house that she was in? That was because one of the Beach Boys and Charles Manson wanted to have a record deal. That was, there's a great book called Helter Skelter. You should read it. One of my favorite. It's scary when you read that. You'll definitely protect yourself. Anyhow, Bob, anything more on Main Street? You got one more, right?
2 more.
2 more.
Parking lots and pathways. We've done a fair amount of work improving or maintaining our parking lots and pathways over the last 2 months. Quite a bit of patchwork, and that has been paid out of the ADA money. No worries there. We're got plenty of money to cover it, but now we need to look at seal coating of properties to extend the life of that material. What happens to asphalt is once it starts drying out, that's when it gets brittle, it cracks and starts to fall apart. Seal coating helps extend the life. I provided a proposal from Fireman Seal Coating. Local, we've worked with them over the years. They are, where are the numbers? And what I provided was what our highest priorities are right now. They are
They were
at,
about 20 grand.
yeah, but this includes striping as well in the parking lot. So after they're done, they come back and they restripe everything. They are at about $7.10 a square foot, where Evans and Sons was at about $8.20 a square foot.
So you did get a second bid. John, I'm sure was going to ask that. I already emailed Bob earlier after I saw it, and I said, do you have other bids? And he said he did, so I'm glad he shared it with us tonight. I would think, I don't know how that price, if you can compare it to one you did not too long ago, but it should be way down because I think oil is like, they're almost giving it away. What type of numbers were
Well,
you
that's good
getting like
price.
3 years ago, Bob?
Well, Smith Woods, for example, that's $1,195. A comparable lot to that one, because I don't have a comparable of Smith Woods to go by, but similar in size. It was the old lot where the natatorium's going now. 2 years ago, that was about $2,600 for that one.
Okay, and now it's 1,100 and some, so, okay. You're telling me that we are
Yeah,
getting a
1,200.
decent price. Okay, someone want to make a motion to expend the almost 20 grand, whatever the total amount is? Would someone like to make that motion that we hire? Bob has used these people before.
Fireman?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the firemen, and they've, I think Bob is happy with them. They do a good job. They've been around for a lot of years. So we're not doing someone that's coming in one time and leaving Westmont. These guys do a lot of work in our town.
And they do most of the other municipal lots from, the village, the fire departments are doing those lots as well.
They do our driveway too.
There you go.
There you go. I'll make a motion to extend the bid or the job to Fireman Seal Coating.
I'll second. For $19,549.
Thank you. Make that all part of the motion, please, Lenore.
Yes.
Any other further discussion? Everybody satisfied to vote?
Nope. That's
All
good.
right, Bob, or Lenore, please.
Commissioner Moffett. Commissioner Moffett.
Yes.
Commissioner Lipinski.
Yes.
Commissioner Connolly.
Yes.
Commissioner Kirish.
Yes.
Commissioner Long.
Yes. All right, that one's good. Bob, what's next?
That's all I have on capital maintenance.
Maintenance? All right, House Bill 64. What do you got there, Bob?
We already talked about that with Fritz Worley, so we're on the treasurer's report.
Oh, so you did that one out of order too, huh?
That was the one you wanted to talk about.
All right, treasurer's report. Sharon,
Yep, that's me.
you got the floor.
All right, before I recite just our cash and investment balances, I wanted to ask if anybody had a question about the way I presented the revenue and expense report today.
Can
That
you,
would be Mike's specialty.
can you just explain the one pencil thing where you, it
Yes,
was like an auditor's change that you subtracted
yes,
450 grand and then from 1 year to,
yes. So the reason I penciled that in is starting this year, we produce our revenue and expense reports with an additional column that's all the way on the right-hand side that shows the prior year to date. And that's what I refer to in my handwriting. PY is prior year and CY is current year. So because of that additional column and because of the timing of accounting period 12, which is May, I didn't want you to look at the report and compare it to PY year, prior year, because that prior year totals has the reduction of the revenue carried forward. So I penciled in and did the math for you because it's not appropriate for me to make those changes at this time. I do that in accounting period 13, essentially, or accounting period 12, but right before the audit entries begin to be made.
okay.
So that's why I did it, just so when you look at it, you can see a better comparison, because I can't go back and change prior year totals to add that revenue carried forward back in.
Okay. That going forward, it's a process change, so we shouldn't have to do that. Next year, the report should match up on, right?
No, so next year, when I run accounting period 12, May 31st, 2021, the last column is going to have the prior year to date, and it's going to have that revenue carried forward removed again. So when you receive this in June 10th or June 11th of 2021, the revenue carried forward is still going to be in there because it's not the right time of month
Oh, okay.
accounting period to remove that yet.
Okay. All right.
By July, it should, depending on the paper trail and how things come through, but by
Right.
July, there's a greater chance Sharon will have that 13th accounting period complete.
But by then we'll be presenting June's revenue and expense report or
Yeah.
July's revenue and expense report. But if you ever want to see how, we end the year, that will be available. Again, I only did it because as looking at the report, I know we like to look back at prior years, and with that big revenue carried forward figure not removed at this time, it wouldn't be fair to look at it because you'd say, wow, we're doing spectacular this year.
Compared to, yeah.
I'd been asking a question anyway, either way, doesn't matter.
Right.
Thanks.
So anyway, so if there's not any more questions on the way that was presented. I'll just go ahead and read the cash and investment balances.
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so our checking totals with our operating and sweep accounts totals $2,475,000. I'm sorry, $2,475,688.12. Our total interest for the year was a little over 71,000, but for May it was only $1,136.84. Our AP totals were 137,673.44. And the good news that I thought that came along, and I supplied you with the report, even though the revenue and expense report doesn't reflect the deposit because the deposit doesn't come until June 1st, was our first distribution of our real estate taxes, and that was almost $1 million. So that was a good distribution. I don't know if we'll see the delay in the taxes, you know, more like in the second distribution of June or in September, but the good news is we received $991,525.46 on June 1st.
Is that typical, Sharon, of
Yes.
that is, okay.
Yep.
Sharon,
We're scheduled to receive another one. Today's the 10th. We're scheduled to receive another one on the 15th. They don't give me the dollar amount, but they do give me the date to be prepared to look in the bank.
Okay, great.
Or Sharon, you said that that we had, what, 2,700,000 in our sweep account, was it 2.7?
2.4.
2.4, and that was before this million, right?
Yes, yes,
Okay, that was our May ending.
yes.
So we ended our fiscal year, we had 2,400,000 plus whatever investment we had at the Royal Bank, right?
Yeah,
Other than
200.
that, that's all our money, right? So we finished somewhere around 2,500,000. Now I know there's things we committed to out of that 2.5, but that's sitting pretty good cash-wise. So just so everybody realize, when you look at the end of May, it's always nice to see that our carryover fund is in that 2 millions, okay? That means some of it is committed and we just haven't paid the bill yet or done the work. But that's a nice carryover, because that's really our surplus. That's our cash. So anyhow, enough said on that.
And I'll just add to that, 195,000 of that we know is committed to the HVAC project. So as Jim said, there are things we've committed to. There are still a few bills that may not have rolled in yet, but our projections that we prepared for the tentative budget last month are looking real good, almost spot on. So we're doing okay. And I think the last thing to add is total refunds for the rec department was just under $54,000. So you know what that number is. Now, we don't have as much revenue coming in, but we don't have the same expenses and wages going out. So we're doing okay.
Yeah, we're lucky.
And that included park rentals. Some of the park rentals or room
Yeah.
rentals, but a lot got carried over to next year as well.
Well, actually, another profit one for us really was our outside rentals, the pavilions and stuff. We were getting our revenue up pretty substantial, and we're really probably not going to have much this year. And well, if we get to the next stage, you'll be able to rent everyone up to 50, right, Bob?
Yeah,
Is that
but
what we're thinking?
that's not the majority of our rentals.
There are 100
They
and
were
200
bigger.
people. Yeah. That's too bad. So we're probably going to lose quite a bit of revenue there, and there's really not a lot of expense to counterbalance that because it's already, we use our park patrol. We already have the maintenance guys. Our garbage is paid for. So anyhow, is there anything more, Sharon, that you have?
Not that I have, unless you have any questions.
Anyone have any questions of Sharon?
Nope.
All right. I
Looks
think
good.
it's Joel, you're up
Sharon.
next. Joel, your facility report. Is that Joel's, right, Bob?
It is.
We're not talking John's joining. Okay.
So I just want to always take this time to encourage everyone to be extra diligent when clicking on things and what they're looking and browsing on the web. Everything I subscribe to puts us in the highest alert margin we can be in. So just want to encourage everyone to continue to be careful they don't receive anything from the HR department as something would come from Lenore, a form. And when in doubt, always just pick up the phone and call someone.
Okay.
Continuing to post our updates to the digital guide, the virtual guide, working with Kim and Dustin. Also fielding a number of questions from the public. People still tend to be sending in a lot of questions instead of calling. There was a large influx of spray park questions. So we do have a lot of posts on the web now regarding the spray park, basically letting everyone know we don't answer what we're doing with the spray park, as the county has not told us anything. Looking at the web traffic, the spray park website is getting exponentially more traffic than it ever does. So people clearly want it, but nothing we can do there as we're obviously following the guidelines.
So Bob, just to comment on the spray park, we're all ready to roll if we get approval for the next phase, which probably would include spray park, I'm guessing, because they may restrict us 50 in there at once, which probably is close to the number we hit at our peak.
Jim, I suspect they're going to keep us closed all summer.
Really?
I do.
Kind of surprised, but okay.
Yeah.
I just want you to be ready from a staff level.
We could
If
get
we
it.
get the go-ahead and we can have it July 1st, and we could run it for 2 months, I definitely say get it going because those are our best months too, July and August. So
We've always said if we get half a summer, we'll take half a summer.
okay, I just meant I want you prepared and you guys ready so that if he gives it to us at the last minute, we're ready to roll do you have to call out a company to open it up or are we already open?
Yeah, but compared to a pool, we can have this thing up and running in about 3 days.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah, I think the hang up on that too with the splash pad is the IDPH, the Department of Public Health. They're not issuing permits. So even if they give the go ahead, there's a problem in the state office. They are so behind, is what I heard, and that permits are a real problem right now.
Don, DuPage County does not go through Springfield. DuPage County goes through DuPage County. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so DuPage County is a self-ordinance county. They do it all at the county level. And DuPage County just has been choosing not to send any out.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Bob, is the normal process, they send out to us an annual permit with a fee, or do we have to apply?
No, they send it straight to us.
Okay, all right, very good. All right, all I want you to do is be ready, because I think maybe financially it would be a good one if we could run that July and August. We could, we could make 40 grand in those 2 months. And I think there's a lot of pent up people that are gonna wanna come and use it. So anyhow, Joel, keep going. What else you got?
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that the other site obviously getting a ton of attention is the golf course site. So segueing into golf, we've been extremely busy. I think everybody's well aware. I know a lot of the faces on here have been out there golfing or visiting. The biggest news is that the change on the 29th of May basically saved our season. The ability to have foursomes and condensing our tee times to 10 minutes from the previous required 15 essentially allowed us to have the junior league. Without it, we basically we physically didn't have the room to fit everyone in. Looking at the month of May, we brought in about 25,000 in May. Just looking at last weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, that was just under $8,000. We did had a really good weekend last weekend. So obviously that'll reflect next month's report, but just a preview next month. We had a weekend there doing just under $8,000, which is great for us. The other news in the golf is junior golf registration was chaotic, but also successful. We did about 200 people in the first 4 minutes online. So myself and Mo or Maureen in the community center were watching the numbers come in. We had parents taking every available tee time they possibly could. So we learned a lot in our first year of junior golf online registration. It was, a lot of phone calls. I know Sharon was helping shuttle notes back and forth to me. I was in the community center. So our numbers are going to be somewhere between 350 and 75 when all said and done. Last year we had 362 enrolled. Our highest years in the last 10 years were in the 425 to 150 range. I know one of the things I've already started to field calls from parents is they're looking to move their tee times because they have baseball tournaments. Their baseball tournaments are out of state. I figured most of the kids would be home, but these parents in some of the more affluent communities who do participate in our golf have the resources. So we're seeing, people are still heavily involved, even though the times we're in. So we're doing our best to accommodate everybody we can. Moving on to fitness, the building itself is, I wouldn't say that it's closed, but we're only doing one-on-one personal training per the state. At this time, Drew is the only trainer who has clients that want to come in. Jackie, who is our other trainer, predominantly trains, I would say, mostly seniors, and reaching out to her clients. There was no interest of anyone who wanted to come back and work with her. And I would say, I've been up there as a facility some days. Most, if not all of the, maybe there's of the about 20 people Drew's working with, I think about 4 of them are adults. The rest are all youths, either doing basketball. He is doing a basketball clinic up there. And we are charging everyone who comes in a $30 or $33 non-resident. So rather than their membership, we're charging them a personal training activation fee, if you will, for everyone who enters. So we're trying to recoup some dollars there. We don't know what's to come as we don't have the phase 4 guidelines. We received the phase 3 guidelines for fitness about a week prior to being able to do our one-on-one training. So we'll hope to do as much as we can within the guidelines from phase 4 in July. Anticipate potential hour changes, obviously guideline changes. We're not going to speculate, but we're waiting to see what is handed to us from the state, and we will go from there. And that's all I have.
Joel, just on your distribution, so am I to understand, and I know this doesn't include the junior golf use, so no. Was our ending number the 255,000?
That's looking at the fiscal year, last fiscal year.
Right. So in the last year, we did 255, and the year before we did 276. So we're down about 21,000.
Correct.
Now, a lot of that was not from the COVID. It was, we had a bad year last year, right? Yeah.
Correct. Well, we're now into the third wettest year on record. So every year we get more and more rain.
What, do you go to the Craig Gremmer School of Golf? That was always his excuse. Rain. According to you guys, it rains more than it's sunny. Okay. Anyhow, we're down. So the bottom line is we're down about 21,000. And junior golf was down last year or up?
Junior golf is in a downward trend. I'm thinking we were at 362 kids. I'm thinking we'll be just slightly over that.
Did you raise your price this year?
Yes. So
Okay.
I'm anticipating junior golf still coming in. I know that just due to the online payment, everyone has to pay before the first week, so we don't have all of our payments in yet. But we'll be somewhere in the $60,000 to $70,000 range for junior.
Okay, very good.
Just so the board's clear, we are finishing last fiscal year with a profit of just over $10,000 at the golf course. So that's a success.
Okay. It's not quite what John's golf club does, but it's okay. It's positive.
They used to lose money until this year.
Well, wait till the
Ralph, could you
lawsuits
stop
come
doing
in.
that?
John's not through with the lawsuits on that one.
Thank you.
All right, what do we got?
Actually, Joel,
are you good or you got more, Joel?
I'm finished. Sue, I think, has a question.
yeah, well, no, I just wanted to say the golf course looks really, really, really nice. The grass is really nice. The hole 7 where the creek, where you guys did all that work, looks really good.
Yeah.
Everything looks really good. It's hard to find your balls in the grass.
Yeah, I got a complaint about the rough.
It's very thick and plush.
Yeah.
You got to play in the fairway.
Karen, does your husband go and play there?
Yeah, he says it
'Cause I
looks
know
great.
he's a really good golfer, isn't he?
I guess.
Really? Oh,
He's good.
I
He's
didn't
golfing
think-
today. He just
Oh,
got
I
back from
thought-
4 days in Michigan golfing. He's obsessed with golfing. Yes, he loves to
Yeah.
golf.
I mean, does he take the kids with him there?
Well, yeah, he will. But the one who's really excited about it is our littlest. She just thinks she's awesome at it. The older two haven't. They go,
Really?
but Claire loves it.
Good.
Yeah.
Great
yeah.
sport. All right, so Joel, you're good. Now I think we have our last guy. What happened to Dustin? Are you there?
He's there.
He's there.
No, I'm not. He's not on my 9.
Yeah, I'm still here, Jim.
Oh, there you go. Go ahead. You got the floor.
So to piggyback off of something that Joel said, I do want to recognize Maureen. She has done a tremendous job in the office with handling the phone calls. Sharon and Lenore and Joel can all attest. I would probably say about 80% of our phone calls that are incoming are about junior golf. So she has been on the phone constantly for the last really week in regards to that. So I just want to give her a pat on the back for that, because I know that she's been spending a lot of time doing it. And she has still been doing all of her other responsibilities and duties. So rec staff has been very busy. We have been modifying and adapting all the programs to meet Phase 3 guidelines. I've spoken to a lot of my friends at other park districts, and I'm proud to say that we are offering a lot more programs and than other park districts. A lot of people have decided cancel pools, cancel camps, not run programs, wait till the fall. And that has kind of been a common thread. So I'm really proud of the staff. I'm really proud of our park district that we're offering our residents something this summer, because a lot of people are asking for it. A perfect example of that is the baseball classes. WYBA had to cancel their league because of circumstances, because of the insurance with Little League. I created those baseball hitting and pitching clinics, and it's looking like I'm probably going to have to divide them into 2 different sections, because I already have 15 in the hitting group and I have 13 in the pitching. So depending on how our phases go and when we're able to kind of go, I might have to make some adaptations to that, but that's a good thing. I've also got a lot of inquiries from 6, 7, and 8-year-old families asking for a similar program for them. So I'm working on developing that. Hopefully, I'm trying to get into contact with an individual that's going to be able to have a little bit more expertise than myself in that area. So I'm looking forward to getting him on board. His wife just had a baby, so obviously he's got some priority issues at this time. With day camp, where our numbers are looking okay. We got 20 for camp and we've got 9 for call right now. Camp will begin on Monday. So we have everything situated as far as our COVID room. If someone is displaying symptoms, where they're going to be isolated until they're able to be picked up. We're going to have a limited amount of counselors per week based off of our registration numbers. We've let our counselors know that. Rocco's gone through all the training. I know that Bob and Rocco are going to be on the parent orientation tomorrow. That is going to be a Zoom call. I will be driving to Vermont to visit my brother and my nieces for my niece's high school graduation. So I will not be on the call, but camp overall is looking good. Rocco has been working a lot with Katie Zalbeck and myself as far as developing programs and different things for the kids to do. We are going to try to bring in some outside entertainment and vendors that are going to come in and adhere to the phase 3 guidelines instead of us going on field trips, because obviously it's being recommended that we don't travel to locations, or even really, buses is going to be difficult at this point in time. Summer fun camp, we had 3 signed up for the Tuesday, Thursday session, and we had 7 signed up for the Monday, Wednesday. So we were able to transition those 3 from the Tuesday, Thursday into Monday, Wednesday. So we're going to have a full 10 on the Monday, Wednesday for Cindy and for Edith to participate with. So we're looking forward to that. Cindy's Camp in a Box, which is a pretty cool concept that she came up with. She basically is putting activities that she would do at camp with the kids in a box with theme, and parents are coming to the community center and picking them up and bringing them home so that the children can do camp-like activities at home and not come into camp, because some people are still a little apprehensive about that. So we have 3 signed up for that program. Our Wolverines basketball skills camp, that's going to start on Monday. We've got 13 in the 3 to 5th grade level. We have 12 in the 6 to 8th grade, and we have 1 in high school right now. So I know Rachel's been working with Drew on that. So obviously our numbers are looking decent in regards to that program. I know that we're trying to work with Drew a lot more. Bob, Joel, Rachel have been doing a great job as far as trying to communicate with Joel and really help him kind of integrate himself a little bit more into the Wolverines program moving forward.
So is that just
Our
a
virtual
skills thing
class-
as well, Dustin, too? Is that skills only as well? There's no, like, no
There's
games, no
it's
nothing?
just skills at this
Okay.
point, because that's basically what we're allowed to follow
Yep.
in the
No, I
phase 3
get it.
guidelines. So we're trying to do what we can.
Oh, people will do
Virtual
anything. There's
class-
nothing else to do. They'll sign up for anything right now.
Exactly. Virtual classes were a bit of a flop, to be honest with you. We offered 19 different programs. We ended up canceling the majority of them. We had 13 enrollments in 3 different programs. Miss Kathy's music and movement class had 8. Rachel had 2 sign up for virtual soccer class, and Rocco had 3 sign up for Young Rembrandt's e-drawing. So a lot of work went into that and not a lot of results. So a little disappointing, but we're going to keep on chugging forward. And overall, with holidays and our special events, we're continuing to evaluate those, obviously on a week-by-week basis as we get updates and as we get changes to the guidelines and what we're allowed to do. So I've had some conversations in regards to all of those from a staff level and from also a larger community level. I know Bob and I were on a call a couple weeks ago in regards to holidays and how we're going to try to adapt that to the community based off of what our expectation is going to be for the fall and the winter. And then All of it is just, working with rentals and trying to make sure that we're moving forward with everything that we're able to. So rec department has been buzzing, and it's been nice to kind of get back to that normal.
That's
Bob,
good.
I
Good job.
believe you commented about holidays not getting any funding from the village, correct?
Correct. Yeah, so
Okay.
we will
And was
run,
that something you just heard from them on?
no, back in May, they told us that's probably going to be the case because they're losing so much money, don't expect it. And then at this meeting we had a couple weeks ago with the village regarding holidays, it was confirmed. If something changes and all of a sudden there's an influx of money in the fall, they'll reconsider it, but they're not anticipating that to happen. So we have
So
to run,
what's our plan?
we have to run holidays at zero cost, period. So we've come up with other ideas. We're looking at, different ways to do the parade. We're not buying trees unless members of the community, families, businesses want to pay for it and sponsor it themselves. That's going to be a huge cost saver. Not purchasing floats and having all these other groups that require a donation to be in the parade. Those are our biggest expenses for holidays. We're not going to be doing those things this year. Of course, the activity formerly known as the Polar Express, things like that will still happen if we can allow it. Our Breakfast with Santa, those are all our programs that are successful. We'll continue to do those things, but we're coming up with some creative ways that have been brought out at this meeting to engage the public, maybe create some revenue to help offset or bring in revenue for holidays.
And Jim, just to kind of piggyback on what Bob said, our overall holidays budget between the village and us is $25,000. Between WHAM and the hotel motel, we receive $15,000 from the village. So the park district over the last 5-10 years has been contributing about $10,000 to that. About 7,500 of that actually goes to the parade. And then trees is the other big expense of it. Last year we spent about $4,300 on trees. So those are our major expenses when it comes to holidays. So as Bob kind of mentioned there, we're really kind of going towards more of a fee-based program model so that we can basically cover all of our expenses. One of the concepts that we've kind of developed and I'm going to start moving forward with in the next couple months is like a Santa sleigh to kind of piggyback off of what the police and fire have done with these parades and these, at-home type of delivery things. So the parent would basically bring in a present or a gift to the park district. We would dress up a trailer as a Santa sleigh, have Santa dress up and deliver the present to the child. So we're trying to come up with some creative programs and concepts so that it's memorable, it's enjoyable, but it's not obviously going to be the traditional holiday celebration.
Not all of the money we put in was actual money. It's staff time that Dustin's referring to in our contribution.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything more, Dustin?
That's all I have.
Any other questions of Dustin?
No, good job.
Yeah, good job.
Bob? See, where are we at here? I gotta go back. I was
We've
looking
touched
up.
parks and maintenance. We've touched on a number of things already, from the bathrooms to the projects. Just a couple quick updates. Day camp garage is been worked on starting last Friday. It's going to get starting tomorrow, a fresh coat of paint. Old lights were taken down. We've got some new lights in there. Cleaning it up a little bit, making it more presentable and brightening it up. This week, before the end of the week, hopefully we should have a new employee who used to work at the Downers Grove Park District on their mow crew to drive our big, large area mower. That will be a huge help for us to catch up on the mowing and then free jump up at the golf course to do more of the restoration projects that we need to do around all those pathway improvements that were done there. So that's moving along as well. And then we'll just keep on trucking. This outfield project, they should have the rest of the drainage done by Friday or Monday, and then we can start moving on to the turf restoration side of it and filling in some of those low areas and start growing grass. So that's moving, and then we'll move on to the next project, which is going to be park signs, replacing the old park signs with the ones we have, and then projects out at the golf course as well.
Very good. Do any board members have any other questions, any comments, anything you want to bring up? Everybody happy? Well, not happy, but everybody's content. Bob, anything more? We're good? Lenore, you're happy?
I am happy.
All
I
right.
have a question. I was wondering, and actually a neighbor asked about this. I remember going to movies, outdoor movies at Ty Warner. I know we probably can't do that, but some of the neighboring towns are doing drive-up movies. I don't know, just something fun for the community. Is that a possibility, or do we not have space for that? Like at Ty Warner in the parking lot. I know Catherine Legge's doing that in Hinsdale, and they're doing it in Burr Ridge at their promenade. I don't know, just to throw that at the wall and see if it sticks, kind of thing, you know?
So Karen, we already have the 2 summer movie rentals. And there's a couple of different things that we've investigated and have looked at in regards to that. Given where we are right now and looking at phase 3 reopening, if we put, and I know Joel's sister has actually participated in something similar to this, if we spray paint circles in the grass at Ty that are 6 feet apart from families, we can participate in a movie in the park. So that has kind of been our internal modus operandi for that program. We have investigated drive-in movies. The screens are actually really expensive. They're about $1,500 a night to rent. And that guy right now, the organization that Alice reached out to and got a hold of, he's booked all the way through like the end of August at this point in time.
Sure.
So we've thought about doing a drive-in movie at the community center on the east parking lot. There's just some logistical issues that Edith and I are still working through as far as that is concerned, because we'd realistically only be able to have, maybe 20 cars or so.
Yeah.
So we're working on it and we're investigating it. We will still most likely have movies in the park, and then we're going to try to do some sort of adaptation for a drive-in movie.
Cool.
And we'll use our personal screen for that. So.
Yeah, our screen is a blow-up screen or something, isn't it? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I've gone to I'm sure Karen went. I've gone to it's a lot of fun. It would be nice to do it in a drive-in type thing, if we could do it.
And we have good movies picked out this year too. We got Aladdin and Lion King, so we got good movies.
Yeah.
Okay. I probably won't be going to those.
Karen's
Not
kids would love
helter-skelter.
those.
The problem is we've all been quarantined for 90 days. We've seen about every movie possible.
Dying to get out of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow, is there anything else to be brought up to the board, Bob? We're not doing any, we're good.
Yeah,
No,
a lot
we're meeting
going on.
we're gonna meet next Wednesday. We can still have our remote meetings until the governor pulls it. And Bob's thinking at least through June, right? We'll be probably able to still do this. I think we should still meet weekly. Everybody's okay with that? We can do it at 5 o'clock again
Yeah, I think
next
so.
week.
Mm-hmm.
That way Bob keeps us informed what's going on.
This has worked very well.
Hopefully.
All right, someone want to make a motion to adjourn?
Sure, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Mike and Sue.
Gotcha.
Lenore, we got a roll call, please?
Commissioner Connolly,
Yes.
Commissioner Zapinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Karish,
Yes.
Commissioner Moffett,
Yes.
Commissioner Long.
Yes. Thanks, everybody. Stay healthy.
Bye.
See you next week or see you in the parks.
Bye.
Right.
Good to see you guys. Miss you.
See you, everybody.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.